Frustrating, though, that some Republicans who push mental health and don't mention guns are the same Republicans who did not do anything for mental health or even made cutbacks. Reverend Al is someone who covers and also speaks at and speaks to the parents of victims at the funerals of these shootings, tragedies, whether it's in Buffalo or Uvalde. Uvalde especially seemed to expose so many different lapses in our laws.
One of the things that really disturbs me about Uvalde is they're talking about mental health at a time the governor cut the budget to deal with mental health. I mean, the height of hypocrisy is to cut the budget and then talk about maybe this man killed 19 babies. I mean, school children to me are still babies, third and fourth graders. And you're just going to pivot to something that you know you took the investment out of. The other thing that disturbs me is, where are the moral voices? Where are the voices that come to the pulpits of America, the evangelicals and others? I preached yesterday at Second Baptist Church in Baldwin, New York. And as I was mounting the pulpit, I thought about how Joe and I always talk about being Baptist. Where are these voices that came out about women's right to choose last week or week before last, but they're not talking about how children have a right to live and not be faced with mass shootings? There seems to be a silence with the right-wing moral leaders that seem to be selective in what they want to come in to the address in the body politic. If we can tolerate over 200 people being killed in mass shootings, Chattanooga, Philadelphia, on and on, just this weekend, and be silent, then I'm wondering what we're preaching, and I'm wondering what the politicians are in office for.
It's the same type of avoidance, Joe, that you see, for example, with January 6th on guns, with these Republicans or religious leaders and groups. They just don't want to talk about it. They want to move on.
I just want to pretend it doesn't happen. 19 children bleed out, 19 children gunned down, babies, as Reverend Al said, killed. And in Washington, Republicans won't even move the age to own a military-style weapon from 18 to 21, when there's so many other things. You can't get a beer in Texas unless you're 21. You can't get certain medicine unless you're 21. But you can get an AR-15, and I will tell you, it's any Republican that says that an AR-15 is constitutionally protected by the Second Amendment's just a liar if they actually read the Constitution and actually look at Heller. It is not. You look at states like Connecticut and other states that are banning military-style assault weapons. Those have been on the books for years. And the Supreme Court has let them stand because they're not unconstitutional. Nobody, though, in this negotiation is talking about taking away AR-15s or making the regulations tighter on AR-15s. They're just talking about moving the age from 18 to 21. And Republicans won't even do that. It's just staggering. Mika, I do want to say there's a picture. There's a picture I saw, and you know, it is, I must say, I think most of us are shocked by the behavior of the police officers in Uvalde. There's so many different angles to talk about there. Most of us are shocked by what happened in Parkland. The officer that didn't go in was eventually charged. But you look at the picture, and there's a picture of police officers standing outside, scared to go in and confront the shooter that had shot children while children were calling 911 and they were bleeding out. Police officers were scared to go in. Now, we need to talk about those police officers. They need to be held accountable. At the same time, why didn't they go in? It's fairly basic.
There was an order not to go in, and I just want to be careful. Right. Cops, I bet you there are a number of cops that would have done anything to go in there, and we're being held back because they have to follow the orders of the top commander. I just want to be careful.
But my point, Mika, is not about that. My point is, you look at the pictures and they're standing outside.
I know.
And they're not going, why?
They're outgunned.
It's very basic, because they're outgunned.
Yeah.
Because Republicans and the NRA have a conspiracy. They work together. So 18-year-old mentally unbalanced kids, 18-year-olds, can go in and buy weapons that actually give them, without any training at all, without any background checks at all.
Yeah.
Like, allow them, I say without any background checks at all, they're background checks, but the sort that you would need for this type of weapon. And they're allowed to just go into schools with that sort of firepower. You look at the picture, that says it all about where we are right now. Our law enforcement officers can be outgunned by mentally deranged 18-year-olds who can go in and buy a gun like this. That makes no sense in America.
That makes
no sense in Britain. That makes no sense anywhere in any country across the globe.
You can't buy landmines.
That there are
politicians.
Yeah. The fact that there are politicians that are suggesting that somehow this is what James Madison and Alexander Hamilton and John Jay and our founding fathers had in mind when they talked about the Second Amendment? Come on. That's crazy. And they know it's crazy.
Now we have...
we'll see if the Republicans are going to be responsible or not. I doubt it.
We have a number of major...